Okay, we're down to our final two interviews with the candidates for governor. The incumbent, Republican Kevin Stitt, will join us a week from now. Today, moderator Susan Godot goes in depth with Democratic challenger State Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister.
Rich, we have invited every gubernatorial candidate in Oklahoma to our studios for a 15-minute in-depth interview. Now, to keep things fair, we have the same list of topics for each candidate, but I will ask follow-up questions if I think we need to know more about what's been said. With that, let's get started on this week's interview with Democratic candidate Joy Hoffmeister, who is currently the Oklahoma State Superintendent for Public Instruction. Thank you so much for being with us, Superintendent.
Oh, thank you. It is so good to be with you and back in OETA studios.
Yes, and we're glad to have you back. I'm going to ask the easy question is first. Tell us and the viewers a little bit about yourself, something we may not know yet.
Yeah, well, my husband Jerry and I raised our 4 kids right here in Oklahoma, and they're all grown. 3 are married, and we welcomed our first grandbaby just 9 months ago. So we think about all families, but of course, as someone with a granddaughter, you think about the future in a way that most educators do, as we have spent the last almost 8 years focusing on the needs of the 700,000 school kids.
Well, it just makes it more real, right? It
Absolutely.
Just sharp focus the future.
Yes.
So what was the impetus, what was the moment you go, you know what? I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to run for governor. What tripped that trigger?
You know, it wasn't a moment. It was really many things leading up to just the realization that our state is at a tipping point, that our schools, especially our rural schools, are under threat for consolidation and closure under our current governor. We know that in order for Oklahoma to have a robust economy, and I'm a teacher, but also a former business owner, I know that we have to have an educated, healthy workforce. And there are areas that we need to support, and certainly for me that means strong rural education and the ability to see our rural hospitals and health opportunities and medical care stay strong.
So you're touching kind of in that answer on all the topics I do want to hit on.
Okay,
the first
sure.
one, economy. You know, in Oklahoma, the energy sector is it's the foundation of the economy in Oklahoma. Yes. But, you know, there are also concerns about the environment. So how do people in Oklahoma or people in any area that has a strong dependence on energy for its economic foundation, how do you balance that?
Energy, more than anything else, defines the quality of life that we have in our communities. We need more energy, not less. And American energy independence is American security and safety, and we know that that also is an incredibly important part of our state's economy, and we want to work to ensure that our businesses right here that employ 90,000 positions all across the state continue to grow and thrive. We should be a leader in the research also about what comes next in the next decades with energy. And today, unfortunately, we've seen that leave our state. We could be answering these questions for the nation with what's next and keep these companies continuing to grow.
What have you seen that is, you said that you've seen it leave the state. Why?
The research that is being done is not in Oklahoma at the level that it is now in other states on some of the East Coast. And that is a concern from leaders in the energy sector that we should be doing that work right here.
So when we talk about expanding the economy, being leaders in the energy sector, it means bringing more people to the state. And you know, that means to have an environment that makes people want to come, especially companies. These companies come to Oklahoma. So let's talk about education. That's a big factor for folks. What would you like to see happen in the education arena? And I'm talking about, you know, the voucher system. I know you've talked about that a lot, and parental say-so and what goes on in public schools.
You know, as a parent of 4 public school children that went the entire time, pre-K all the way through 12th grade, and then OU and OSU for some of my kids, we do want to expand the opportunity and voice and engagement of family in our children's education. So my goal, though, is to see our neighborhood schools strengthened. Governor Stitt has a voucher scheme, which is a rural school killer. You kill the school, you kill the community, and frankly, it's going to see an impact in health and regional hospitals that would come next. So it's very important that we have high expectations and standards for being competitive and ready for the next steps in learning or the workforce, but you can't do that without great teachers, caring, committed educators who are prepared and well-resourced day one.
How are we doing with teacher pay in Oklahoma compared with surrounding states?
Well, we did make some gains, but then other states have also raised their pay. So I'm calling for a $5,000 teacher pay raise again. It is time. So that we can at least be the top of the region, but by 2025, I want to see us hit that national average.
Well, quickly before we move on to our next topic, I do want to go back to the voucher system.
Yeah.
What about the idea of weighted vouchers weighted for rural areas? Would that entice other schools to come into the community, kind of offsetting any loss to the public school there, if there is any loss to the public school?
This is where the governor is reading off a national script. He has done more of a copy and paste and drop other states' laws into ours, and he has pushed this effort and actually doesn't seem to understand this will kill rural schools. And it also means that because of the way our funding works, kids in Altus or in Cherokee are going to pay the tuition for children in Tulsa. That's not right. We are rated 47th lowest in the nation in what we expend for our children in education, and that's an apples to apples comparison between other states and Oklahoma. And we can't afford for money to be wasted, and that will happen. This will be epic on steroids.
So I keep staying here, and I'm so sorry, but so what is your solution besides no voucher system to improve the standing?
My God, let's once and for all fund our schools so that we can have teachers in every classroom that are able then to stay in the profession and give back to the children and keep communities strong. If we don't, I mean, this is my job. As state superintendent, it is to have top choices in neighborhoods all across this state. Some of the best schools we have are in rural Oklahoma. And this governor is risking the dismantling of public education. It is a strong public education that will cause our state to rise in academic performance all across the state. But there's a strong tie to health outcomes too. The world outside the classroom impacts the world inside every schoolhouse. And we have to meet our kids where they are. Today they have very deep needs, and those needs are food insecurity, the violence in the home, trauma that they've experienced, mental health supports that are needed and lacking, and addiction treatment. All of it matters when we then really want to get down to being able to focus on strong math, strong reading skills, and ensuring our kids are ready for success after they graduate from high school.
Okay. I'm going to move on to the next topic, and that's the abortion issue in Oklahoma. First of all, what are your thoughts on the stringent abortion laws that are in place right now?
The governor's very extreme abortion ban is a very great concern for many, many Oklahomans. I am personally pro-life, but I have not walked in every woman's shoes. I do not favor extremes on either side of this issue. These are healthcare decisions, medical care decisions that need to be able to be made between a woman and her doctor. And often what we see now today is the governor has shown no mercy for victims of rape or incest. These are extreme measures, and it is driving physicians out of our state due to the criminalization of standard health care.
I believe it was during the debate, after that was pointed out, did he say he would take a look at that if it was put on his desk in the instance of incest or rape to allow abortions in that case? Or
I believe I heard him say that, but my gosh, we are where we are because he invited this extreme bill and signed it.
Yeah.
And now he's going to reverse and say he wants to clean up what he did. This is an assault on women and physicians, and it invites miscarriage bounty hunters at $10,000 fees, pitting neighbor against neighbor. This is bad for Oklahoma.
Should there be a timeline on, first trimester, anything after a first trimester, any changes in the abortion laws? Would there be a cutoff, if any, for allowing an abortion?
I believe in some guardrails, and we need to work with medical community and with those that care deeply about the freedom and privacy of medical decisions, but also through the lens that we want to celebrate and protect life.
I want to move on now to tribes. The stunning endorsement that you received from the 5 civilized tribes. First of all, what did that feel like to you when you learned that this was going to happen?
It is humbling, truly an honor, and it is historic. There is often, there is sometimes even division within the 39 sovereign tribal nations in Oklahoma. What was unprecedented is that we had all of these 5 major tribes and others that have come together to say we want to work together as partners, government to government, with respect for tribal sovereignty.
Now, I don't know whether that'll be easy or difficult, especially with the McGirt situation going on. So if you have a chance to do that, how do you tackle that issue with the tribes?
So there is need for a compact. It could have been established. In fact, the Attorney General at the time had already prepared and done this work, and it does involve the federal government too, to have actually execute a compact. And yet it was needed. This governor burned bridges early on without the respect for tribal sovereignty, and then he was not able to walk over those bridges that he burned. We can find a win-win to make Oklahoma communities safe and to have clear understanding of the cross-deputization or the jurisdiction within these criminal matters, so that this can be something that's very clear, and that we do not have to continue to see a governor who is wasting taxpayer dollars in unwinnable lawsuits that are costing Oklahomans DC lawyer rates at $800 to $1,200 per hour to fight within the state. This is a matter that needs to be settled through compacts with those affected tribes, and I will be at work to do that with the next Attorney General.
Well, we just have a few minutes left, but I do want to get in this last question. I want to talk about criminal justice reform. Another top issue nationwide is increase in crime rates. And you brought that up in Oklahoma, that the Oklahoma crime rate is higher than New York City or New York or California. What needs to be done? I had no idea the rate was higher.
Well, first of all, we have to face facts, and we need to stay on top of data and not ignore it, as you saw our governor scoff at the facts. It is under his watch that we have a cannabis, medical marijuana industry that has bad actors, that this was on the ballot, the people spoke at the same time he was elected, and yet he did not step into office and address the need to keep our communities safe. We do have communities, and I was in a diner in a rural Oklahoma community and asked some DEA agents that were having coffee there next to me, and I asked, is it true what we hear about Chinese and Russian mafia being here because of unchecked regulation and laws that have not been put in place timely? And they agreed, yes, it is true. We are battling an out of control medical marijuana bad growers. There are good growers that need to be protected. But we know that this is also a governor that on his watch and tied to crime is the sale also of more foreign-owned, in fact, 1.5 million acres of foreign-owned and interest land here in Oklahoma as well. It all is part of how do we protect rural Oklahoma, and it is a key part of my focus.
Since you brought up the marijuana industry, how do you walk that back? How do you undo what's been done in the industry for Oklahoma?
Well, this is certainly a problem and a mess of the governor's own making, and it will take the next governor, and I will do that. But we will work with the industry. We will work to protect those business owners who are good business owners that are complying with the law, and work then with our legislature to provide the kind of oversight. But it is certainly a problem that could have been avoided, and we need a governor that's actually caring and understands the need for strong safety in this state.
Right, wonderful. Superintendent Hoffmeister, I want to thank you so much for your time running for governor on the Democratic ticket. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Susan.
And next week, Republican candidate and incumbent Governor Kevin Stitt will be in our studios.